What's up, guys? This is Will from Bluestribute. I'm here with Brock from 36 Crazyfists. How's it going, man?
Great.
Right on. Glad to hear it. So how's it going, man? Any crazy tour stories as of yet, or just kind of hanging in there?
No, not really. This tour, particularly within this moment, just I think this is the third night of it. So they're an old friend of ours, but nothing has been too crazy yet. It takes about a week till everybody's like kind of comfortable around each other as far as like crews and knowing where and when you should be there and all those things. So
right on.
Nothing too crazy. I mean, we have been out since like November of last year. Pretty much, we had a couple weeks off during the holidays, and we've been grinding pretty hard since then. So it's all kind of a blur right now.
Right on, for sure. Just the long ass 8-month trek or whatever.
Yeah,
for sure. No worries. So do you have a favorite city to play in America or the world or anything? And if so, why?
Oh boy, there's so many cool places to play, but home, we're from Anchorage, Alaska, and that's always real special for us to play at home. We just played the Warped Tour stop there like a week ago or whatever. And, we just played the Download Festival in England too the weekend, a couple days before that. So that's kind of where you're, as a child or a young adult, hoping to become a career musician. The Download Festival is what that dream looks like. I mean, it's
Rock 'em Ring and all those
about
things,
as big as it can get, and that was our 5th time getting invited to play it. So,
congratulations!
Unbelievable. And I can't really single out one other place other than home. Home's a real special place for us.
Oh yeah, definitely, for sure. Especially being an Alaskan band, there's so few to make it out of that area. So, about back in February, you put out a new record, Time and Trauma. Could you tell us a little bit about that one compared to your last records?
Well, let's see. I think it's probably one of the only albums that is close to one specific topic, as opposed to the other albums, every song having a different story.
Yeah.
This album was written heavily about the passing of my mom, and so just that in general led to like this entire envelope of songs that just kind of encompassed each other.
For sure.
Which I'd never really done that before, but
for sure.
It was really needed for me, to write songs and have some sort of outlet for, the life situation that I was going through. And
for sure.
So that being said, that's the difference. Other than it being 5 years between the last 2 albums, that was also a big difference. Usually we put out a record every 2 years.
Yeah.
And so, I just think a lot of life circumstances happened. Not only did I lose my mom, but my bass player lost his mom a couple months later.
Oh.
So we were all kind of dealing with all these life tragedies.
These
and
really heavy, emotionally gut-wrenching
situations. I mean, unfortunately, all of us have to go through it at some point of our life.
Ups and downs, yin and yang.
Yeah. So, that's what the record's about, and that's the reason it took longer than the others, and maybe that's some of the differences as well.
For sure, yeah. No, and it shows in some of the few tracks that I've heard. Like, it definitely, there's a certain, almost, I guess, sort of musical maturity that shows a lot on this new record.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Definitely. No, yeah, it's fantastic. So the previous record before Time and Trauma was released on Ferret Records, and for this new one you switched to the label Spine Farm. Could you tell us a little bit about the reason for the label switch?
Well, initially because Ferret disappeared. Atlantic Warner bought Ferret out.
Yeah.
Well, bought it and then did away with it.
Okay.
So
kind of left you guys where do we go from here?
I mean, maybe we didn't even ask. At that point, 4 years had gone by before we even started thinking about what we were going to do label-wise. And once the demos were done, we did start shopping around a little bit. We got new management and kind of helped shop some things around. And Spine Farm was one of the labels that came around, and the old old marketing guy at Ferret was now the marketing guy at Spine Farm, Tim Brennan, who's a good friend of ours, and the old president of Roadrunner was now the president of Spine Farm. Okay. So we had these old relationships. Okay. And when we had the phone calls, and they spoke about the music, and I just felt like they were the most passionate about the band. And at this stage of our career, when we had just completed our 20th birthday, it was like, if you're not going to swing for the fences with us, then we don't want to be there.
Exactly.
So that was kind of the selling point for us. I just felt like they really were behind the band and wanted the band to achieve something greater than we have, and that's the attitude we needed. So there was other great labels that were sniffing around, but I think ultimately Spine Farm, just with their passion and their belief about the band, that's what sold us to become teammates.
For sure, yeah. I keep hearing that from a lot of bands, that it's such an important thing to find like the right fit between a band and a label, and the passion I'm finding is, it seems to be that selling point for most bands. Like, can this really enhance what the band is all about? So I'm glad you were able to find that with Spine Farm.
Yeah, me too.
Glad, man. So what's your favorite track on Time and Trauma, and why?
Boy, I mean, I don't really ever look at the albums like that, there's certain songs that, we're playing live that you can tell work live, and some that don't, but...
Yeah, definitely. If you had to choose one hypothetically.
Well, I mean, the song Time and Trauma itself is about the process of managing loss and healing from it, and trying to put one foot in front of the other and turn tragedy into a fond memory.
Yeah.
And I think that goes with the old adage that time will heal everything, or however that adage really was written, time heals.
Yeah.
So that being said, that song in particular is about the feeling, the overall feeling that I have about the lyrical content of the album.
Okay.
So to me, it was the first song we wrote for the record, and or it was the first line of that song is the first lyrics I wrote for the record.
Okay.
So I think that song in general just is kind of the starting point and the most memorable piece of the beginning process.
There's something about the first song always that just has it's either like a lyrical hook or some sort of melody that just kind of encapsulates everything about like a new album cycle, isn't it?
It sets the tone for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a critical piece to have. So Time and Trauma seems to have a similar feel to the last record, at least to me, and perhaps some others. It seems to kind of mix elements of like hardcore and kind of its subgenres and some of like the punk stuff. I don't know if you guys have thought about some of the writing for the next record yet, because it's only been out since February. But if you have you decided maybe what the next musical direction you want to go in for the next record will be, or?
Not really.
All right.
Not yet, but we actually did just kind of start mentally thinking about the next record.
Okay.
Just because we want to put out an album much faster than the one we did just now, 5 years between the two.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
So we are...
Well, I mean, granted, you had some tough circumstances.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't the normal thing. And so, we have started getting the wheels turning a little bit. Not with content, not with sound, not with anything, but just the mental calendar, basically. And so I have no idea. I mean, I think we've tried as unconsciously as possible to try and not repeat ourselves. But, when you've been a band this long, you know where your roots are, and hopefully you've identified your sound.
Yeah.
And I think we feel comfortable with what we're doing, but we don't want to repeat ourselves just like everybody else.
Yeah.
So
it's always the tough balance to find as a band too. Like, I mean, obviously you guys have pretty much nailed down your sound by now, at least to me as a listener, and I'm sure all of the 36 Crazyfists fans out there. And that's always the tricky thing, is like finding, your unique musical identity, but also taking it in a new direction. So,
yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, I'm not tooting my horn at all, but I know that we are unique. I mean, we get put in the metalcore thing or the post-hardcore thing or the new metal thing back in the early 2000s. it's all right. I don't care about the genres that someone puts us in, but
people
I
just have to
know,
pigeonhole you,
I know that when you listen to certain bands in this genre, it could be any of them.
Yeah.
And I know that love it or hate it, my voice is different than a lot of these other guys. And,
Exactly. No, yeah. It's one of the
and
most
it is the reason that people either hate our band or like our band.
Exactly.
And I've totally grown comfortable with that because it is what makes our band different than the others. And I think that's an important thing in this business is you got to have something that's going to stand out. And
Exactly.
if it sucks, but it stands out, well, at least you found something that stands out, right?
Better to have like something that you can remember, good or bad. I mean,
Yeah.
in a perfect world, good, but better to have something that stands out than another like, oh, we can just brush over this.
Well, I'd just rather sound like us than, sound like everybody else.
Exactly. Yeah.
Love it or hate it.
Yeah.
You know
It's
what I
one
mean?
thing to blend in. It's another thing to be memorable.
I mean, everybody's got their influences, no question about it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that we're like the most unique sounding band of all time. We're far from it. But I know that we do have elements of our band that no other bands have.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's so critical. And that's definitely part of the reason why you guys see the success that you have.
Yeah, I think it's the reason we're sticking around.
Yeah, definitely.
21 years almost. Now.
Yeah, it's huge. It's fantastic. And it's great.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. So, you're one of the few bands to be touring the world, like we mentioned earlier, based out of Anchorage, Alaska. Does being from Anchorage have an impact on how you write or how you conduct yourselves as a band or anything along those lines?
Yes, somewhat. We're extremely proud of where we're from.
I'm glad.
And there hasn't been that many bands that have gotten to get out of there and tour as much as we have. I'm not saying they won't. I'm not saying that we're better than anybody. I'm just saying we've had opportunities that other bands haven't.
Well, I mean, it's just tough up there. It's
It is. It's an isolated place, and you have to leave there to get your feet under you, to get some touring legs, which is so important, and so that's undeniable. I'm not saying you have to leave there to get signed or anything like that. You don't. But if you want to get out into there, you want to hone your craft, you need to get your touring legs under you, and that means you have to leave.
Exactly.
And so we did. We left in '97 to Seattle, eventually into Portland. I moved back home in 2003, but yeah, man, I mean, we're really excited that we're from Alaska. Like, it's been a thing for us. I mean, having our new drummer in the band, he's been in the band for 3 years, he's from Portland.
Yeah.
At first, it really grinded my gears, man. I'm like, man, he's not from Alaska. Like,
Yeah.
It bothered me. Quietly, it bothered me.
For sure.
But, shoot, he's made our band so good that I quickly got over it. But
as a drummer, man, I can attest to how important like a good drummer is.
It sure is, man. There's no
Yeah.
question. But yeah, I think it all. The geography of the place breeds a unique character. I mean, through isolation, through darkness in the winter,
And it shows in the music.
Yeah, I think so, and it's unconscious, But also, I think we don't have a lot of outside influence when we were growing up.
Yeah.
It's not a flashy place. There's not like tons of scene kids, and I mean, of course, it's infiltrated a bit now, and
Yeah.
there's Hot Topic up there, and those things that weren't there when I was growing up. So
For sure, yeah.
it's like anywhere; it catches up to the times. But it's a special place. There's special musicians up there, and I think that we play a different city every night, and there's locals that open usually, not on this bigger tour, but
Yeah.
like when we headline, there's usually a couple openers, and I really dig that. But I really see that it's not that supported. They like have 30 tickets to sell, which
Yeah.
is also something that's kind of lame. They got to sell their own tickets.
Yeah.
But it really helps the show usually if there's real people that show up.
Yeah, definitely.
Otherwise, anyway,
Different
more often than not, I see less support for the locals. And in Alaska, I don't know if I'm biased to it or what, but man, it just seems so supported. And I think mostly because we don't have that many national bands coming up there.
Yeah.
So
It's-
all they have is the local scene. So
Yeah.
you better get behind it or you're not going to have anything.
Exactly.
So I think that's the real beauty of that place. And it's been that way since I was in high school in 1989. When I first got into high school, I started watching live bands. Those were my favorite bands. I mean, I loved Metallica and Slayer, but the local bands that were popular, they were like my favorite bands.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the same as kids get older, but I hope it is, because you got to support the local scene.
Oh, always.
You really have to.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's how the next legends are born.
Absolutely.
It really is. And there's just something about being that real and that intimate with a band that isn't, at the top of the world, that you can't get anywhere from just local music. And I'm sure having Alaska being sort of isolated and, geographically, for lack of a better term, kind of cut off as it is, helps contribute to that a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're proud of that, man.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Huge, definitely.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. So, our last question, and I asked this to all the bands because this is an interesting topic and I like to get a feel of what everyone's thinking in this genre. So, everyone these days, it seems like anyway, I don't know literally everyone, but Gene Simmons famously said sometime last year or whatever that rock is dead. And a lot of people it seems to be dividing people in general. Definitely not the rockers and the metalheads and everything, but it's definitely a topic of discussion. What are your thoughts on all that?
I saw this quote for sure, and I'm not going to slag him off, but I mean, his reality is way different than mine, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I'm not really sure what he's talking about. I just saw Kiss headline to 160,000 people in England, so pretty sure rock's alive and well when you're looking out at that.
Exactly.
The thing is, the industry itself continues to crumble inside itself because of the technology is run rabid with torrent sites and things of that nature, where kids these days did not grow up buying records like I did.
Yeah,
and
it's a different day and age for sure.
If you got something for free your whole life and now you're being told that you should buy it, it's hard to train that dog, you know what I mean?
It really is.
But I think that this is the one thing that which I really believe in. If you portray a message of gratitude towards your people enough, and also portray a message of how bad you need them to purchase your album. So number one, and not even purchase your album, but purchase your ticket at the town that you live in, because that shows the local promoter that, hey, these guys are worth these tickets, I'm going to bring them back. And then if no one shows up, I'm not buying that show again. If I'm a promoter, why would I lose my ass on that again?
Exactly.
I wouldn't. And that's how the game works. So if your fans aren't going to support you, you're not going to have a career. And boy, that's the bottom line. I mean, rock and roll could very well be dead in that sense if your people don't support you. But is rock and roll ever going to die? Probably not. Not in our minds anyway.
No.
But I think it's really important for the people to know that without them, we might as well be in the garage.
Exactly.
We can't come out of the garage. Still supports us, thankfully, and we're grateful for it. And
absolutely.
But I think that's the key. You got to really pound that message into your people that you need them, because you do. Yeah,
you've got to give them something worth latching onto, and then be grateful for that and keep giving it to them so that they can.
No question about it.
Definitely, man. All right, that's everything we got time for. So again, this is Will, Bluestribute Rock from 36 Crazyfists. Take it easy, guys.